Hello, this is Malorian and this is the Orc Tactical Team, and now we're going to be talking about Skaven in 8th. I had before talked about, of course, how Orcs have to try and take on Skaven, and now this is just a general video on how Skaven do in 8th. And I think the main thing to start this off with is that they were built for 8th. They just seem to be a perfect fit, and actually I'd say Skaven is one of the top armies right now. But let's get to why. First of all, infantry. They got tons and tons and tons of infantry that you can throw in the field without having to throw too much else, taking up a lot of points. With their slaves being 2 points, you can take a whole bunch of them. With your clan rats, I mean, there's a little bit more of a better troop, but they're still a very cheap price, and you can just take tons of these guys. So if you ever want the numbers and to ensure that you're going to be steadfast or taking away steadfast, well, you just take these guys and there you go, right? You've guaranteed it. Next off, we can look at their elite. Well, for their elite infantry and monstrous infantry, they have some very good options. They have your storm vermin. So these guys, I mean, they come at least with a heavy armor, strength 4, not too bad. When you get that in horde formation, all those strength 4 attacks are going to start adding up and they're going to break things down. They're basically just like better halberdiers. And while they're doing that, I mean, you could always make them even better if you want. You could put things like in Quick Head Taker to make them all of a sudden an extra weapon skill and strength. I think that's probably a little bit over the top, but you could always do it. And basically these guys are just great for adding a little bit more of a punch where a lot of times you don't have it for as far as an infantry. As well, you could always be going with your plague monks. These guys, 3 attacks each, they're toughness 4, slicey, slicey, slicey. Again, just like when we were talking about the demoness and things before, these are the guys you want to throw against the larger, weaker hordes like night goblins. They just go and slice it up and you'll be taking away that steadfast in no time. And at the same time, they have a beautiful banner where for 1 round, they get to reroll the hit and reroll the wound. So I mean, with that, they can do devastating amounts of damage and just destroy everything. While this is going on, I mean, you could always add the furnace to them, and then they're just deadly to anything, because now with all those extra hits, and now they're going to be unbreakable. These things can be a huge pain. And one of the great things about 8th is that now that you have to destroy the rider and the machine to be getting your points, well, now you're not really caring about if they pick off the little priest that's running the furnace. You just kind of go up and do your thing. And if you really want to, now you have access to putting on a 2+ armor save on him as well. You wouldn't be able to cast any magic anymore, but if you want to make him more of a combat character and keep him alive at the same time, you could always be doing that very easily. Finally, you can be taking a whole bunch of your rat ogres. Amazing, amazing stuff. 4 attacks each, I believe it is, with the frenzy. Strength 5. I mean, you take a good sized block of these and they can just chew through a lot of things. I mean, I said before that for the little infantry that the storm vermin were a good punch. Well, these guys will really punch through anything you really have to worry about. That's the tougher army or unit of your opponent. They can be a little bit of a risk if, of course, get hit by war machines or something like that. But man, these guys are going to hit really hard, especially, of course, when you put them up to a horde formation. It's just plain old nasty. Some other interesting things you can still do with the army. You have your giant rats. You can take a whole bunch of these guys. They're basically set up to be like spears that get an extra rank and things, right? So you get your 1 rank, your automatic 2nd rank gets to attack. Then, because they're giant rats, they get another one if they're in horde. You get another one. So that's 40 attacks, a whole bunch of little choppy stuff, and they're so cheap. And then of course you add in the special character, and then who knows, they might have poison attacks, they might have all this other stuff. So that's another one that can be great just for throwing out there and just chewing up small units. Or the thing with all these things too is, even though them and something like the plague monks are best against something like night goblins, well, you can always throw them against tougher things too, right? If you're ever seeing a monster, well, you can always throw them there, and those strength 3 attacks are eventually going to add up, right? You're going to be rolling those 6s when you roll all those dice. So great, great stuff. And then, of course, we get to their war machines. And yeah, with no partials in combat, it's just amazing. I mean, you have your plague mortar and your plague catapult that can be just blasting in, just bringing down the numbers. You have the amazing warped flamethrower that does the strength 5 damage and is just can destroy things like huge. And of course, the best thing with these is that if you're with slaves, you can shoot them in combat. And so what you can do is have your big block of slaves, and what you do is you move your slaves in position here, and then move up your flamethrower, right? And then you just stand there. You're just kind of blocking the opponent. When they charge your slaves are going to hold because they're steadfast, and then you just start flaming them. Flame, 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 flame. And who knows, I mean, with all those losses, it could end up that your slaves actually eventually beat them, or you could now flank them with something like your rat ogres and beat them anyway, or if they ever beat your slaves and score themselves, you know, maybe 100 points or something, then all of a sudden they're so weak and brought down that anything else you have can easily wipe them off and keep on going, and obviously scoring you more than 100 points in doing so. So just amazing stuff there. Magic wise are also very strong. The best thing there being their plague, which can go through and all these big huge hordes. That's a very good counter for, and start bringing them all down. And the other thing is the dreaded 13th spell, and that one really is the elite and the bunker killer, because that one is just 4d6 models automatically die and turn into rats. And what that means is, of course, if you're against a big elite unit, say like a unit of Khorne chosen, well, boom, do that, and a whole bunch of them die. Who knows, if you're lucky and kill them all, then all of a sudden you get a brand new unit of clan rats out there to be fighting for you. If you have a bunker hiding in the back, usually a bunker is only 20 strong, a couple of characters in there. I mean, especially after you do some damage with something else on it first, boom, you can just turn the whole thing to rats. I had that before where my bunker of night goblins, along with my BSB, my general, boom, all rats. It's just, that's such a game-changing spell. But just think of something in the watchtower, right? You have something that's tough in the watchtower that you know you're never going to be able to beat. Well, now they're all rats, and now you hold the tower. Great spell. And then of course there's all the great other monster type units as well. You got your Doom Wheel, which is a great monster sniper. You have your Abomination, which is great for adding kills. And really with both these things, just pair them up with one of those big lines of infantry, be it slaves or clan rats, and now the whole usual thing that you took away steadfast and you won combat. So pairing these together, amazing stuff. So when somebody asked me, you know, how is Skaven doing in 8th? 8th was built for Skaven, really. So they're doing fantastic. So anyway, I hope that's a good overview for you. And hopefully this is the last one, but we'll find out.